sound. It's not as well in the. I didn't want to do that. So there's something weird here at VA. Somebody just got in their car after an appointment. I've been sitting in my car. As soon as they got in their car, I started driving off, and I just didn't realize, it's a setup for that person to be paranoid. Again, I have to explain to you all how psychology actually works from how mental illness is caused by Satan. But then again, psyop, it's actually Satan's psyop. So when they spell you and Satan's psyop doesn't work any longer, then they begin the physical psyop. That's it. So everything's in a psyop to make somebody paranoid. Satan does that. They learned psyop from Satan. All right, I just came out of VA, the clinic here in Lenexa. That dear leader photo, you got to change it. I don't know what you want to do. Like, you may want to make the golden age photo. Come up with a reason to change the photos in the federal buildings and everything. You're going to lose votes off. Because remember I talked about aiding and abetting the psychological, the psychology that you generate is aiding and abetting the enemy. Well, that's what Trump's doing. I mean, Gavin Newsom's just going to, he's talking all day about dear leader Trump. You walk in the VA, there's dear leader Trump snarling. That's not golden age Trump. That's dear leader Trump. So the Secretary of VA should, or the Secretary, yeah, not correct. Right. Department of Veterans Affairs doesn't want that photo. Because the other two photos are like his photo. I don't know if the other person. I didn't check it twice, but I can't remember what they were. But they're normal photos. And you got big headed Trump, and it's like almost like a full body or something. So you say what you could say is you want to just match the photos of the others, because it looks like shit. Okay, I think if they're MAGA, yeah. So what they're doing now is you're going to cater to MAGA faithful because they're making you paranoid about losing MAGA votes. So Loomer and all those people, and even Marge is not so she's a little gentler about it, but that losing the vote thing, and Marge is right to a certain degree. You need to take care of Israel and tell them, it's no problem. Not necessarily take care of it. The civil affairs mission needs to be priority. They're saying the civil affairs mission is priority. Either, in some of these instances, they said it and it didn't seem to work either. So they either can't do it or they don't want to do it. It's just a psyop to say they're doing civil affairs. Because I'm not saying that they're lying. It's just they may not be capable. It's not something they're strong suited, at least at this point. They may need some civil affairs assistance. That's why I said hire the contractors. Because these guys are like, like the generals of civil affairs, if they were actually in the military. So again, it's moving and everybody's on cue to do what they're supposed to do, but I don't know how it's going to work. I'm not there. If I was there, I'd be on it all day, making phone calls, telling people, so hey, that's what you need. You need somebody to sit there on the phone and orchestrate it, that knows what they're doing. That's a go-getter. It's going to look at it 24/7. You wake up in the middle of the night, looking at facts, figures, or whatever. And see, you've lost the presidency. There's no doubt. But what you're make sure I'm still broadcasting. Got it. Middle of it last time. You don't want to lose. You're trying to keep some of the states or some of the the congressional seats, Senate, and all. Well, say you're taking your photo for something, the golden age or whatever it is. I just looked at it, I'm like, yeah. Well, because if you look at the secretary, unless you want to put the secretary's face up there like that too, but it doesn't work for him. He knows that. I think so. Yeah, like just walk into the VA. It would be a good place to do it. You know, the VA clinic, they're everywhere. And just look at the three photos. You'll see what I'm saying. And you got like a pumpkin head. That's the other thing. You're like a big pumpkin head. And you walk in, and they got like I think like like at least the waist up or something on the other photos, and then there's Trump with the big pumpkin head staring at you. It's like Halloween, coming up. We could kill you for that, boy. So VA gets a go on the hearing aid maintenance. Big go, actually. Amazing. Yeah, she agreed that I probably should add a hearing aid in 2013. The question is whether they played a game with it so I wouldn't get it. They were trying to prove that I didn't have hearing issues. Like a year, maybe even less than a year. My mother had an argument, and somebody called the police. I said, I got hearing loss. Sometimes I don't know how loud I am. And he kept going, I mean, it was disgusting. Right? They shit. Right? And that person probably worked against me. That was before the big physical disruption in my body. So I'm sure they do. They got my mother too. So, yeah, 2013, when I went in for a hearing test, I should have. I like to shit my stuff all along. Like when the Mars Service was trying to like do me dirty, they sent a piece of paper down. And I kind of stumbled there. The people that speak mind, mind meld. I'm in the mind meld of intelligence. I'm certain people, and they said, "Well, I don't know if anybody's doing anything, but the people that are doing you, getting paid to do you, would not do it unless they succeed. And that includes whatever it takes. But they're not going to kill you outright because it's investigatable. You never know for sure where that's coming from. Trying to get you to kill yourself or do suicide by police or just freak out, pop around down. Like people around here know if I freak out, just pop around and you'll be okay. Right? Have an enemy territory. Not Americans. Communists. They're actually, it doesn't mean they're liberal, it means they're the Soviet Union. Like, all right, so the officer, just based upon the officer having his face, he was doxxed, I guess, or something. He would be cursed. Even just a photo. So even the photo up there, you with your mug covered, uh, that's enough to cause the issue. They can curse you for the photo. Try to get the Walmart. Actually, I'm going to drive a little bit just to get the broadcast out. So, send all your people. Hurry up. Call security and tell them to curse me for the video. that's the kind of thing that's happening. You ICE people are walking into Walmart, and some Latina or Latino work security, and they're effing you off while you're shopping. They were doing that to me and my family, but they were like racist. They were like KKK types. And because I didn't know how to read it when I was younger. And like the things like, they're getting your wife in. Well, actually, after I woke up, it said they got your wife in Walmart because she was Asian, but they didn't like you either because you married an Asian. And actually, I lived in a couple of KKK communities, and probably this is a KKK community. But they changed the letters to LDS. You're token people. I can read that. They got a couple of token Africans, like from Africa, Or actually, I don't even think they're from Africa. I think they're from France or something. Actually, it's one of those nations. I don't remember what they are. They're not, multicultural. They have their tokens. Well, they had the LDS had to shed the past. They were actually saying that black people were inferior in their religion, that they were this whatever the race of beings that were evil. I gave you the benefit of the doubt, so don't even look at me like I set you up or something. They're extortionists. They're organized. It's a shame. So yeah, that guy, you should have visited him. Don't even like you'll say don't even put him in the employee assistance program. That may have been one thing you could do. I would have recommended the employee assistance program. That's one. Two, which he could actually should have did that. Hey, think about that. That could have got him out of the charge because the cops want to. At this point, the cops want to get him out of the charge. It's like, oh shit. Well, he could have been drugged. He could have been psyoped to be drunk. He was definitely cursed to be a drunk, right? For that incident to occur. He should have went. Okay, so when that happens or anything happens, put him in the employee assisted suicide program. But the agents and officers have to stay connected. If you don't want the person to have some like drinking issues or other, because you call him, you doing okay? How's everything going? They'll try to make him paranoid over that, but you can try to dispel paranoia. Young women are first, and sometimes that's just they're willed down to have for sexual purpose, and then once they're willed down below a certain point, the curses start taking them over. Go back up again, like a buoy pushing up the water. As soon as you remove the curse, the float go up again. I don't think we'll be having sex tonight. All of a sudden, she says that. Need to earn it with a ring. Like what he did in that church could cause a woman to be sexual. They were taking me down there. You need to stay up so that stuff doesn't happen. That's why none of the stuff I was doing was working. While I was trying to heal, they were already plotting and planning in the church to take me down. So the church energy. I never wired in. I knew that. Right. But again, that's why everything. I mean, obviously, I was already cursed, but the idea is when you go to a church, it shouldn't add to the curse. So that's pretty much the latter day Satanist at this point. Yeah, he steered me over here before I was finished speaking. I'll park here and go inside. So I actually needed an appointment to get a longer wire, and they gave me that. And replaced the receiver that was dead. No charge, very quick. Like I said, if I'd have received the hearing aid in 2013, my hearing would probably still be better. I could focus better. I remember all the little things related to that. Well, they cursed me. I mean, your blind is blinded. That's what they did to me. It's called blindsiding. That's what they do when they operate. A lot of women here, like attractive. Some available. The majority of them are available. So again, that may be a focus. See, that's how I could to tell the spiritual body that I'm part of. If I were in a spiritual body, then we need to focus on women. Now, there's nobody like me. Benny Hinn, kind of, but of course not. Right? Although Benny Hinn is useful to explain to people this kind of ability. Right. So what I would recommend is that you change Trump's photo, the first. There's some other stuff too in there. The dear leader thing's got to go. They're forcing you into that mold, and you need to get away from it. Because even the court's going to feel better about slamming you if you're portraying dear leader. It kind of makes them feel justified. So keep connected to your office. What happens is when something like that happens and they go on leave, you don't call them up, you don't talk to them. Again, that's a negative as far as that. So suggest that they and just tell them, you have to tell your officers out of abundance of caution, we recommend you just go to the employee assistance program and talk to somebody so they can. Again, it's not always only psychological help. He needs help deciding, like working through his thoughts. Like, what do I do? Like he'll tell him, like they'll tell him stuff like, you know, you're still a human with capability. That's what you wanted to do in life. But if you even lose your job and you go to jail, when you get out of jail, you start a new life. It probably could be better. In fact, he could still get a disability. Could have gotten a disability retirement. See, that kind of thing. It's PTSD and shit that he's experiencing. I don't know how long he's been in the agency. And again, it could be at the hands of all that abuse from the public, but his coworkers may have been part of it. So he really could have still received a disability. He should have actually at that point sought counseling and then started moving in the direction of disability. My coworkers caused what happened to him, and then the deep state along with them. Marsh Service actually owes me millions, virtual millions. They use the ESU and all sorts of shit to screw up my life. They're disgusting, piggish people. And the reality is, I'd have been their boss, right? For the Marsh Service not to actually suggest I go to ESU is insane. I mean, I wasn't like planning it. It actually was set up because Maxwell went to ESU. So like if they hadn't screwed up my life, like somewhere down the road, I'd have been in ESU. Like the SOG thing, like all of a sudden, why don't you come join SOG? Going, yeah, well, CIA's killing me. I can't join SOG. I don't even know if I'll be here another year. Right. That's who it was. That's who was leading. And it could have been former, but it's still the CIA. It's the way the CIA. Putin's honest. He says, once KGB, always KGB. Once CIA, always CIA. Unless they try to assassinate you. I'm actually CIA, and there's a lot of people wish they would have let me just at least be a peripheral person because I had a lot of capability. I actually helped them with a lot of missions. No, they're devils, man. These cops are dirty. I mean, if the techies come in and pay you and CIA $1 million, or you know you're going to get $1 million, you'll do whatever they say. Or the representative, some former CIA guy that works. CIA is professional extortionists, but they're not supposed to use it on us. That's where the problem is. And again, if you get out and use it on America, it's still illegal.